So, what if the 40-year plan for retirement, the one we're all told to follow, is built on the wrong kind of math? Today, we're diving into this really powerful concept called the 23-5 principle. The whole idea is that there's a 5-year path to financial acceleration, and believe me, it is a radical alternative to that slow, steady slog most of us think is the only way.
This quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It basically says there are two different games being played when it comes to building wealth. You've got the linear game, and then you've got the exponential one. So the big question is, which game are you playing? Okay, let's break this down. On the left, you see the linear path. It's just simple addition, predictable. You put in 1 unit of effort, you get 1 unit of result. 1 + 1 + 1, you get it. But look at the exponential path. This isn't addition, this is multiplication. Every single step doubles the last, and the result isn't just a little bigger, it's explosively different. This is the engine we're going to be talking about. So first up, let's really tackle this idea that most of us are so familiar with, the 40-year retirement myth. And really, it's just another way of describing that linear path we just saw. The linear path, you could call it the default setting for most of us. It's that old work hard, save a little, and maybe in 4 decades you can finally relax. And look, it feels safe, everyone understands it, but its biggest feature is time. A lot of time. It's all about those slow incremental gains. But here's the thing, it is not the only way. All right, section 2, the 2-3-5 principle revealed. This is where things get really interesting, because this is where we unlock that exponential path.
Okay, so the 2-3-5 principle, this isn't about some kind of magic formula. It's pure math. It's a framework for focusing really intense effort over a much shorter time frame. We're talking just 60 months, 5 years, to use the incredible power of compounding to achieve what normally takes people decades.
So you're probably wondering, how does this actually work? How does the math really accelerate? Well, let's break down what that 60-month journey actually looks like. Because I'm telling you, it is probably not what you expect.
Now this timeline, this is where it all starts to click. Look at the phases here. The first couple of years are what you'd call a slow start. You're putting in all this work, but the results, they're tiny. Then you hit year 3, the plateau, and this is where it feels like you're just stuck, going nowhere. And then only at the very end do you hit the explosion. The growth is absolutely not spread out evenly. Just look at this. Take a look at the growth in year 1. Okay, now look at year 3. Still not much, right? And now look at year 5. Wow. The vast majority of your gains happen in a tiny, tiny fraction of the time. The results from all that hard work in the first few years, they don't really show up then. They show up multiplied like crazy right at the very end. Now, this whole setup leads to the single biggest challenge, and that brings us to Section 4, surviving the danger zone. We need to understand why most people who even try this end up quitting way too soon. I mean, it's a totally fair question, right? If the math guarantees this huge explosion of growth, why wouldn't everyone just stick it out? Well, the answer has nothing to do with the math. It has everything to do with human psychology.
This is it, year 4. This is the moment that's called the great filter. It's the point where almost everyone quits because they're so frustrated. That slow start and that long plateau start to feel permanent. You start to think the system is broken or that it's not working for you, right before the entire thing is about to take off. Get this, a staggering 80% of the total growth happens in the final 20% of the time. We're basically talking about the last year. Can you just imagine working your tail off for 4 years with almost nothing to show for it, not knowing that a tidal wave of results is literally just around the corner? That feeling, that is why people quit in the danger zone. They give up right before all the magic happens. So, how do we beat this? How do we push through? Well, we have to completely shift our thinking. And that brings us to our final section, building a new financial mindset by learning how to think exponentially.
It really all boils down to these 3 things. First, you have to see the entire 5-year timeline from day 1, and you have to accept that the big results will be stacked at the end. Second, you have to just trust the math. Trust in the power of compounding, even when your eyes are telling you nothing's happening. And third, you have to find the mental toughness to survive that plateau, to push through the doubt and frustration of year 4.
And that really brings us to the final idea here. This whole principle, it's so much bigger than just finance. It applies to learning a new skill, building a business, even getting in shape. So the real question isn't just about your bank account. It's about what any area of your life could look like after 5 years of dedicated exponential effort. Just think about it for a second. What could that unlock for you?